Hey there guys, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking my ROG Ally X and we're going to be installing SteamOS on here. I'm tired of Windows on this thing. If I'm being honest, I've been using it so much less lately because of just how annoying Windows is. See, one of the great things about the Steam Deck is the fact that I'm able to just hit the power button and kind of just pause whatever game that I'm playing and come back to it later without any issues. You can't do that on Windows, really. See, Windows' sleep functionality is broken half the time and does not let you do something like stop resume. And well, that is at this point just unusable for a handheld, if you ask me. Because the realistic way of me using this is that I'll boot up a game, I'll sit there, play it for maybe an hour, maybe 2 or 3 at most. And a lot of the times it ends up being pretty light titles anyway. But I'll play that, and usually I'll want to just stop at some point, but I'll have to essentially save the game, close it, and then hit the power button on this thing and hope that it actually went to sleep. And a lot of the times I'll come back to it usually just dead. Even if I left it with something like 60% battery, I usually end up coming back to it near dead or already dead. And it just ends up being very inconsistent because some days it's perfectly fine. Everything seems to be working the way you would expect it to. But then I'll come back another day and it just ends up dying randomly from very little usage. And it's really just that inconsistency that ends up being the biggest problem with this system for me. And not to mention just how bad the Asus software is. After all this time, it still feels very laggy, it still feels very inconsistent, and half the time when I try to launch something, it's not even working, and I'm tired of it. And at this point, it seems like with the most recent beta versions of SteamOS, a device like this is essentially a first-class citizen. Valve really seems to care about optimizing SteamOS for devices like this, which makes sense. Valve wants to be the default operating system that they put on these systems because that's just a win for them. So there's no incentive for Valve to get really anti-consumer and super aggressive here. They want SteamOS to be as open and as adopted as possible, so they are optimizing for a device like this, and I want to give it a go because at this point, I really don't do much on Windows that really requires Windows to be there. If I'm being honest, I don't really ever log into Epic, and I already canceled my Microsoft subscription for Game Pass, so there's very little that's keeping me to Windows. I don't really play any games that require it, and especially things like anti-cheat, I'm not playing those types of games on a handheld. So SteamOS seems like the best pairing for me, so we're going to go with SteamOS version 3.9. So let's see if we have a difficult time getting it installed on here. Let's get started. Okay, so it's after all the testing that I did and everything, but I forgot to essentially go through the process of installing SteamOS on here, mostly because it was kind of just a pain of recording that. But it's extremely easy to do. Pretty much all you have to do is restart your system and boot into the BIOS, which is extremely easy to do. I'll show you right now. Start the system. Because really all you have to do is essentially hold down the volume down button as it boots up essentially, and that will boot you into the BIOS. So the BIOS key is just the power down button, or rather the volume down button. You just keep holding it until, you know, sometime after the splash screen happens, and that should load you into the BIOS, as you can see right here. There's two things you have to do in the BIOS. One, obviously you have to boot into the USB drive that you're going to be using. Now it all depends on how you're going to hook it up. You could either use one of those USB sticks that has a USB-C port, you could use a USB-A to USB-C port, or adapter rather, or you could just do what I did and essentially just use a USB-C dock that you just kind of hook up to the system itself. And it doesn't have to be one of those, you could literally use one of these. This is actually the one that I used to install it, and it worked perfectly fine. But before you go through the boot process, you do need to disable Secure Boot. SteamOS does not support Secure Boot. If you're going to go down the route of Bazzite, you can enable Secure Boot. Just know that you are going to have to enroll keys pretty much after you restart the system when you install Bazzite. For SteamOS, because it doesn't support Secure Boot, we're just going to disable that, and it's perfectly fine. Now you are going to essentially have to change the boot override and just set it so that it boots first to the USB drive. That's at least how I ended up doing it, and it booted perfectly fine. Once you are booted in, you run through the install process and it should be done very quickly. So jumping into the first game that I tested, here we have Forza Horizon 6 running with the medium graphics settings, and we are using FSR 3.1 at the balanced preset. And do keep in mind that we are running the system with a TDP of 30 watts. And running it like this, we have a very playable above 50 FPS average, though we aren't hitting 60, but if you look at those frame time charts, they are very smooth and very consistent, so overall the playability of this is really spectacular. You have very little to complain about here, especially considering the fact that we are on a handheld, so you can get more aggressive with your FSR settings usually. I find that in scenarios where FSR quality would be about as far as I would go, you can get away with going with balanced. Now moving on to Far Far West, I was running this game and I've noticed that when I try to run this on the Steam Deck or SteamOS, it almost always does not have access to the FSR settings. And looking into this, apparently it's because they have a Steam Deck detection thing that will disable FSR and the global illumination features, just so that you don't enable that on a Steam Deck. But we have a more than powerful enough system to get away with using that stuff, so I used a launch command that essentially disables the check for a Steam Deck, and with that I'm able to actually use FSR on this game. So we're running this with the medium graphics settings. We are using FSR but at the quality preset, and we can turn on global illumination if we want to have effectively some type of ray tracing happening here, and the system does support that actually, and it doesn't impact the performance as much as you think, but considering the level of performance that we're getting here with these settings, I really wouldn't want to sacrifice even 10 FPS just for ray tracing, especially because the game right now visually looks spectacular. It's a very stylized game, but it runs really well on here. And you'll notice that a lot of these games I'm playing with a mouse and keyboard. That was just because I have the handheld hooked up to a capture card so that I'm able to capture the raw footage of the games, but because of that it's hooked up to a monitor, and I found it just easier to use a mouse and keyboard with the monitor. But this will be the identical performance to if you were playing on the handheld itself. Moving on to Resident Evil Requiem, here you have it running with the normal graphics settings, so pretty much medium on both the lighting and the graphics settings. The upscaling is set to FSR, and we are set to FSR at the balanced preset. At these settings, we're looking at about a 30 FPS average, which, to be honest, did not feel spectacular to play on this system. It was pretty hard to aim with this FPS, but if you look at the frame time chart, it is very consistent, so you can get away with playing like this, even though it's not the most ideal gaming scenario. You can certainly get more aggressive with reducing the graphics settings if you want to boost your performance, but this still looks good, and it's at least giving us an FPS that a lot of people would find to be playable. Would I personally play this game on here? Not really, but this is the type of game that I would just play on my gaming PC anyway. Now, I wanted to bring up Mega Bonk because while it is a game that kind of just runs on anything and it performs really well on here with the maxed out graphics settings, I do want to point out that when you first install the game on a SteamOS system, it essentially tries to run a native version of Linux, and that version is just not as well optimized at all in comparison to the Windows version. So you will find better performance in this game if you just use Proton to run the Windows version, and that's how I got the results here, because I have tested this game on SteamOS before and I've noticed that the performance has been significantly worse than how it is on Windows. And that's when I found out that it uses essentially the Linux runtime instead of just using Proton for the Windows version to run on Linux. So if you want to get fantastic results like what I'm getting here, you are going to have to use that compatibility layer, and once you do that, you get a fantastic result, because previously I was struggling to even get 60 FPS at the lowest graphics settings with the default runtime, and switching over to Proton, now we're maxed out graphics settings and we're getting a very nice, very smooth, very consistent gaming experience, and this feels a lot more like what you would expect to get on Windows. Now next, I took a look at Spider-Man 2 running with the very low graphics settings, and we do have FSR enabled, but with the dynamic resolution scaling enabled, and we're targeting a 60 FPS average. And for the most part, we're able to hit this. I was surprised by how well this was performing on here. I was genuinely expecting it to be a disaster, and it is playable at least, though the FSR setting is very aggro to the point where there will be a lot of times where visually it just does not look good, but it is very playable. And especially on a handheld, you're way less likely to notice these issues with FSR. So this one was one that genuinely impressed me. Now, a game that did the exact opposite and just completely disappointed me was Space Marine 2. Here you can see it running with the lowest in-game graphics settings, and we're using FSR at the performance preset, and we're still getting a pretty rough experience for the most part. We're not getting close to a 60 FPS average. The performance is at least consistent enough, but there are moments where there's some pretty noticeable fluctuation, and in general the game looks really rough because of the FSR setting that we're using. I did try it on the handheld just by itself to see if it was any better, and it's definitely better in terms of the fact that the FSR isn't as noticeable, but the performance was still inconsistent enough that I realistically would not play this game on here. Still, if this is your only way of playing the title, it is going to be playable enough that I suspect a lot of people could get away with playing this on here without any issues. It's just not the most ideal. I would prefer to just target a FSR setting that's more towards balanced or above that, because that performance, it really starts to look super fuzzy. I did also try out Ghost of Tsushima with the Steam Deck graphics profile, and I also used FSR along with that, and its FSR set to dynamic resolution scaling, so it has a target FPS of 60. And with these settings, we're pretty much able to hit that 60 FPS average, and the game still looks decent enough that you really won't have much to complain about. I found it to be very playable, and while it doesn't look spectacular on the handheld display, it really is not anywhere near as much of a problem as I was expecting it to be. I was worried that the dynamic resolution scaling was just going to end up being super aggro at 60 FPS, but honestly, it looks great on the display of the handheld. On a monitor, I could definitely see that it has FSR enabled. It has just this overall fuzziness to it, but that just really goes away when you're looking at a 7-inch display. Next, I tried out the indie game Dead Zone Rogue. This is a pretty basic roguelike space game, and while the gunplay on here is pretty decent, it's nothing spectacular, but I have a lot of fun playing games like this. Though unfortunately, the game itself does not really have a lot of graphic settings that you can mess around with, or any really. The only thing that I could thankfully turn off was the motion blur, and you could set an FPS cap, and that's about it. But the performance that we're getting here at what is essentially just the only graphic settings is still very nice. It runs really well, and I didn't really have any issues playing this on this specific system, so not much to complain about really. And the last game that I ended up taking a look at was Vampire Hunters, a game that is essentially a 3D version of Vampire Survivors, and this indie game runs extremely well on this system. It is one of those games where it'll end up throwing so many enemies at you that in the late game you might run into issues on very low-end hardware, but thankfully right now we have more than enough headroom that even in the most demanding scenarios in a game like this, it's still going to be able to keep up. That's pretty much exactly what you want to see, and these are realistically the types of games that I would end up playing on here. If you look at my library of Steam games, the amount of them that I've played on this handheld, it's all pretty much just indie games. I hardly ever touch anything that is like a AAA title. Like I think the most recent one that I've consistently been playing on here is Forza Horizon 6, and that one just lends itself super well to this handheld, and I'm really glad that it performs as well as it does on SteamOS, because that means I'm able to continue to play it on here. I was playing it perfectly fine on Windows, but now that I can escape the Windows software, I'm really excited for that. As you can see from that selection of games, the ROG Ally X does a fantastic job with SteamOS. I'm very happy with the result that I've gotten with this thing, and in all honesty, it seems like it has finally made it to the point where it's going to be a lot more usable, because now all I have to do is hit the power button and I'll be able to just get right back into what I was doing last time. Immediately, I'm back in. Like, that's something that the Steam Deck always had over the ROG Ally, and at this point, the fact that I don't need to compromise by being on Windows is really nice. This is, of course, a beta version of SteamOS. That is what version 3.9 is. That's essentially their beta branch. So understand that if you encounter issues with your system on here, it's likely going to be because it's a beta branch. So it's not like Valve is saying themselves that the operating system is ready for prime time like this, but the fact that you are able to put this on your system yourself today and get it to be this functional is really nice. I'm really looking forward to messing around more with SteamOS on here, because it really seems like this is what the ROG Ally was missing to feel like a full-fledged handheld console, because it always felt like there was a compromise because of Windows being on there. Of course, there's a lot of people out there that are fans of Windows on their ROG Ally X, and by all means, keep running Windows. It really seems like Microsoft has taken the competition from Valve at least more seriously, so they're willing to optimize Windows to be more friendly to a handheld device like this. But in all honesty, I'm off the Microsoft boat. I'm done with them. I'm hoping that within the next couple of years I can fully move away from Windows once and for all, but as of right now I'm still tied to them because of anti-cheat games and because of the fact that my editing software runs off of that. But I really need to give DaVinci Resolve a go so that I can finally start to move away and maybe really only have a Windows system as just a gaming system and everything else is Linux, because I've slowly been moving my entire setup over to that. At this point, my laptop runs Linux, the ROG Ally runs Linux, and I have a mini PC that runs Linux that is my day-to-day browsing computer. So it's really only the editing and very specific gaming scenarios that kind of just keep me tied to Windows, but at least I can escape that with the ROG Ally X. But anyways, I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, be sure to subscribe. You could also become a channel member for as little as $1 a month. I'll catch you guys in the next one.